Hi everyone, today's a good day because it is new bike day. Well, it's kind of new bike day. I've had this bike about 2 months now, so I thought it's time to do a video. So this bike is a Santa Cruz Megatower C, and it's the S build version. But since I've had it, I've done a couple of little changes just because it wasn't feeling how I like it. So a couple of changes and now it's absolutely flying. So first thing, probably just to say what comes on the bike as standard. Obviously it comes with all this Bergtech stuff. You get your Bergtech stem, Bergtech bars, you get Fox 38s on it. It comes with a RockShox deluxe shock, an air shock, but I don't really like air shocks, so I've gone super deluxe coil. That's made a massive difference. I love it. It comes with code brakes, but I've got the Hope Tech free brakes. So just a quick thing I wanted to add in terms of the brakes. It's 200mm discs front and rear. These SRAM certain line discs that come on it, just pretty crap. They're not even straight, but you know, there you go. The one thing I wanted to mention was the internal routing. So obviously I changed these brakes before I even rode the bike. All you do, a little hole here, feed it through. The internal routing's got its own sort of internal routing, which kind of makes sense. So you just feed it up through there, it pops out of here. This is the fiddliest bit, and it's not even that fiddly. This little lug here drops out and you can see the cable, it sort of sits up here. So just use something to grab it, angle it down, push it through and it pops out. Pop it in this hole here, feed it through 2 fingers, pops out there. Literally 2-minute job, brilliant. And obviously you get your usual dropper posts. You've got what is it, ARC 30 wheels, and you get your GX drivetrain as well. Right, here we go, the first trail for a warm up. Although it's quite hard to find anything to warm up on in here, but I think this is probably the least gnarly trail in this bit of wood. Oh. Starts off rocky, and that coil shock just absolutely eats everything on this bike. Oh. Now when I first got the bike, I found it really hard to turn on it. And whoa, I had to make a few adjustments, and the main one was I'd got my bars too high, so took a few spaces out, and then it just meant I could turn a lot easier without falling off, which I have done quite a few times early on. Oh, there we go. So yeah, so quite early on I just sort of set the bike up as it's suggested on the website. So, you know, just went for the standard sort of pressure settings on the air shock and on the forks, and everything just felt really stiff, and I couldn't get used to it, you know, adding sort of rebound, all that sort of stuff, and it just felt really harsh. And I feel like that was another problem, meaning that I couldn't turn or anything on the corners, you know. It just felt like the bike just had no grip whatsoever. So played about with that as well, and I found that if you run the forks and especially the shock with less pressure than is recommended, then it just completely changes the bike and opens it up. But as I've shown up there, I've actually got a coil shock, and that is again just another world apart from an air shock. And if you've got this bike, I'd say definitely go for a coil shock. Also, on that point about getting pressure and stuff set up right, in these Fox forks, I'm not sure how many tokens come as standard, but I believe it's about 2. Now for me, the fork feels sort of too stiff bottom end, but I'm using all my travel. So what I think I need to do is take a bit of air out but add another token in. The only issue is these 38 forks, I think you need a 32mm socket to switch out the tokens, and I've not got one, so I'm just making do for now. And I can tell when I'm riding, it does feel too harsh sort of on the small bump stuff, but you know, it's just, that's just how it is. So something important to mention is obviously the climbing, because it's an enduro bike, so it's built with climbing in mind. Now the front is 170mm travel, rear is 165. I mean, I've been told you can take it to 170 if you want, but I just stuck with the standard sort of settings. I've never run out of travel at the rear, so I think we're all good with that. You know, it's not like a cross-country bike with climbing, but it's easy enough. I mean, I'm not the fittest person ever, and I've done, you know, 3,000 foot worth of climbing on it quite easily. It does help that the shock that comes on it has got a complete lockout, so you can lock the shock and you can lock the forks out even, which is how I've got it now. And you know, you just have to sort of spin up and get to the top now. With the coil, it doesn't lock out quite as much as the air shock did, but I do feel as though the sort of climbing that you lose by still having that bit of movement in the back is made up on the technical stuff, where when there's bumps and loose rocks, all that sort of stuff, you know, you find traction and it's just a case of spinning up to the top. But you know, in terms of being a climber, I'd just say it's quite a good one. So obviously something I didn't mention at the start is my Megatower 2 is zebra print, just why not? But going back to when I talked about climbing, something that is worth mentioning, I was quite surprised at how heavy overall the bike is once all your gear's on it. So I've got a Peaty's Fidlock bottle, which I think fits perfect with this colour, which is the, I think it's matte nickel, and under the bottle there is the magic Glovebox. Now in there I've got, up there, sort of right up to here, I've got a inner tube, which I'm probably never going to use because I'm tubeless, but that's got sort of, I don't know, sticky worms and stuff in it as well, just to fix my tubeless stuff if I do need it. We've got another pouch that runs right down here, and that's got tyre levers and multi-tool, and then I've got a little pump that's tucked in here. Now it sounds like there's a lot of room, but with these two bags that come with the bike, once you've got your bits in it, it is a little bit of a squeeze to try and get everything in the bike, and it goes on there like that, catch goes on, and then Fidlock bottle on there, job done. So yeah, so the issue with having everything stored in your frame is obviously you've got a full backpack's worth of stuff in the bike, so you've got a full carbon bike, nice and light, and then you've got, I think that's 750ml of water on there, all your tools and your stuff inside it, so it turns it into quite an heavy bike. Now I think I have picked up one of my mates, Orbea Rise I think it's called, one of those lightweight e-bikes, and I don't really think you could tell the difference between this and that e-bike, which is quite quite a big, and obviously I've got coil shock in it now, which is about twice as heavy as an air shock, so you know, I've not gone very lightweight, and you can tell when you're climbing, but as I say, it is a good climber, and I don't really think I'll be switching back to a backpack. I have thought about the idea of maybe just emptying the bike out and just using the bag as normal, but so far I've not. There you go. Also, you may have noticed that my dropper post is sticking up quite high out of the frame. Now Santa Cruz have done a mega job of, right, so I can't remember if I got to my point I was trying to make or not earlier, but the point about the seat in the frame is, I'm 5'10", this is a size large. I can't imagine there's going to be many people buying a size large bike and being able to run the seat post much lower than that. So it comes with 175. I feel like when the full bikes are, you know, if you buy it as a full bike, I feel like Santa Cruz would drop the ball a little bit on there. They could have put a 210 on it. I don't even know if they got any more than that, but I could probably get away with another 70-80 mil or whatever worth of travel on my dropper post. They probably don't do them that big, but you know, it's all good making it so you can have the seat slammed, but if you need it up anyway to be able to ride it uphill, then yeah, but it's not an issue. It don't get in the way or anything like that. It's just a comment. If you were buying this bike just as frame only and building it up, I'd say get a big drop on the seat post, don't worry. Right, so this next trail we've got is pretty similar, but just a little bit steeper, and obviously quite sketchy getting into it. Oh my god. Right, try again. I might as well just film it as I'm walking up, because I know GoPro don't show you any sort of terrain or whatever when you're riding down, but I mean all these trails are pretty steep. I won't want to go much steeper. But yeah, this bike just absolutely loves it. Right, let's try again. That's me being an idiot and not looking up because I'm too busy talking, and I'm guessing no one probably cares anyway, but there we go. This one's really steep, almost vertical. Oh, nearly off trail. But yeah, as you can see, the switchbacks are pretty tight. And when I first got the bike, there's been no way I could have rode down this. But now I've got used to it a bit. I love it. There we go. So yeah, so that one was a sort of real steep one. You had to get your weight back. I probably didn't get my weight back as much as I should have, but you know, with this bike you can just sort of put your arms out and just hold on. And that's why I bought it. It's just an absolute beast. Right, so before I get going on this next one, something I did want to mention is, I know people probably do not care about my opinion on this bike. It's obviously one of the top bikes you can get. It's not your top spec, but it's in a ridiculous spec for what I ever thought I'd buy a bike in. You know, it's Santa Cruz. There's going to be everyone, like Petey rides it, all that sort of stuff. I know people probably don't care what I have to say, but I'm just putting this video together just so I can look back and remember what it was like when I first got it. So that's that bit covered. Right, so all the trails I'm riding today, they all start at the top of the same hill, so you know, they are all pretty similar. But this one has got a bit of a jump in it, so, and I'm trying to do all my talking while I'm on the bike rather than just stood not saying anything. But jumping is something I'm not great at, but you know, I can jump a little bit. But this bike is just an absolute beast at jumping. That is something that surprised me, because as I say, I'm not the greatest at jumping, but on this bike compared to my old bike, it just seems to go. Love that trail. When it comes to jumping on this bike, I feel as though it's just so balanced. You can sort of come up to a jump slower than you expect you need to be riding, and you just absolutely fly. And you land, and once you've got your suspension set up, it's just like landing on feathers. It's absolutely amazing at jumping. Now, as I say, I'm not shy at jumping, but I'm in no means a big sender like some people are. But it is really confidence inspiring on the jumps, this bike. I don't know what it is about it, but right, so this next one is pretty tough, but I mean, it's probably a good one to talk about the suspension on, because it's rough. Now this suspension, if you sort of oh my god, if you just sort of point through the rocks, it just takes you through everything. Obviously coil shock absorbs things a lot better than air does, but with the air shock, I found if you run it on quite low pressure, it was actually really nice. Right, so I missed that drop. The glasses are dropping off my face, and I just thought it's a good idea not to be an idiot. especially when I'm on my own. See if we can get across these bits. There we go. So yeah, so suspension just soaks everything up. I'm not going to talk about virtual pivot points because I don't know what I'm talking about, but this bike's got one. Oh. So yeah, so suspension, just, I'm not talking about the Fox 38s and the coil shock that's on it, I'm talking about the design of the suspension. I feel as though any setup that's half decent you put on this bike, you know, the bike just works, definitely. I mean, as I'm pedalling, don't really get much pedal bob. If I really wanted to, I could climb with the suspension locked out. I mean, not locked out, but yeah, so whatever they've done, it just works. Now, something I am a bit concerned about is underneath the suspension, probably can't see it, but where the coil is under there, it's like a little pocket, and I'm just absolutely terrified that I'm going to get a stone in there because everything moves, and then, you know, the stone's going to crack through my frame. But I'm sure Santa Cruz have thought it through more than I can, so I'll trust them on that one. See if we can do the sketchy bridge. Nope. Right then, so I think that's about it from me. Back to the car in a minute. Let me try and find the start of this one. Oh my god. That is sketchy as out. Right, that didn't go to plan whatsoever. Oh. But anyway, so talk about contact points. Oh my god. Right then, this top bit is sketchy as out, but let's go again. Try and do it a bit more reserved this time, I think. Oh, there we go. Made the turn. Anyway, I was talking about contact points. So, grips it comes with Bergtech Bartender or Santa Cruz grips. I've switched to ODI just because that's what I like. ODI real big sort of fat grips. Pedals don't come with any, I've gone for one up, so never mind. And wheels, I suppose wheels aren't contact points, but wheels and tyres, it comes with, might have pronounced it wrong, but a Sagi front tyre, and, oh, there we go, made it. Comes with a Sagi front tyre and DHR rear tyre. Now it comes with a sort of, I think the top spec ones, you know, max grip, 3C, all that sort of stuff. No intentions whatsoever to switch tyres out. They're not what I'd usually go for. I usually have Wild Enduro front. In fact, I do usually have DHR rear, but you know, rear I sort of swap about. I hadn't really got set on one. But yeah, so tyres it comes on with the S-Build, absolutely mint. I'm not sure if it changes through the build specs, but that's that. And wheels, it comes with Race Face Arc 30 offset wheels. Not sure what offset sort of achieves from it, but they're offset wheels. It comes with DT Swiss, I think there's something like 360 hubs. Never used them before. I really like Hope Pro 4. Probably would say I do still prefer Hope Pro 4, but these hubs, what I really do like about them is just how quiet they are. I'm not sure if you'll be able to tell on this or not, but if I sort of stop pedaling, you can barely even hear it. So, you know, when you're going out trails, as nice as a sort of loud hub sound is, when you can just hear the dirt and stuff, and you know, you can hear the noise of the bike and just everything, it's just mint. I love it. So that's that on the wheels. I think there's a guy having a piss, so I'll stop talking. Yep, so that was like a gravel bike roadie sort of guy having a piss, so thought I'd stop filming rather than filming his little willy. So yeah, I'm back to the car now. Not sure if you can hear me because of the wind, but that's me done. Back to the car now. If you have watched it all, cheers for watching. Not sure if I forgot to mention anything. Probably covered everything that I wanted to cover. I'm not sure how it'll turn out with me trying to talk as I'm riding, because it's quite difficult, but yeah, that's it. And if anyone wants to ask me any questions, then drop me a comment and I'll see what I can do. Cheers for watching if you have watched it. Thank you.